The world is a slow, rhythmic tremor. It rises through the soles of Kale's feet, a constant, deep drumming heartbeat that he has known since birth. He stands on the precipice, a ridge of toughened, scaly hide near the creature's shoulder, and looks out. Below, the forest canopy is a green, textured carpet that slides by with deceptive slowness. This is his world, his tribe's entire existence, the city of Ethel, built upon the living, moving continent of the Great Walker. Woven from giant fern fronds and stitched with sinew, are anchored to the colossal bony scoots that rise like grey monoliths from the creature's back. Rope bridges, swaying in the high-altitude breeze, connect the shoulder settlement to the spine ridge and the tail farms, where precious fungi and hardy mosses are cultivated in the deep valleys of muscle. This mobile civilization, a marvel of Homo erectus ingenuity, has survived for generations by staying above the dangers of the prehistoric world below. They are not masters of the land, they are masters of the ultimate high ground. But the rhythm is changing. The sun, which should be on their left flank as they follow the great river south, now burns directly on their faces. Elder Ilara, her face a mask of cracked leather and deep-set concern, confirms the fear that has been whispering through the clan for days. She holds a sighting stick, a simple piece of bone marked with charcoal lines, and points it toward the horizon. He turns, she says, her voice a dry rustle. The colossal Argentinosaurus that is their home and their god is deviating from the ancestral path, the seasonal migration route that has always led them to plentiful water and foraging grounds. For the first time in memory, the gentle giant is leading them east. A silent dread ripples through the assembled hunters. They know what lies to the east. It begins as a shimmer on the horizon, a white glare that swallows the color of the sky. The great salt waste. A dead land where nothing grows, where water is a forgotten memory, and where the very air burns the lungs. To be carried into its heart is a death sentence from dehydration. A slow, sun-baked tent. But the waste is not empty. This brutal chapter of ancient history is ruled by a different kind of predator. The clan's stories speak of them in hushed tones. The land sharks, the Giganotosaurus. Unlike the lone tyrants of the forest, these colossal carnivores hunt in coordinated groups, their intelligence the terrifying mirror of the clan's own. They are the only creatures in this prehistoric life bold enough to harry the legs of the great walker, to nip and tear at its ankles, hoping to slow it, to bleed it, to eventually bring the entire world crushing down. The clan can survive a drought for a time, but they cannot survive the fall. Bol, the clan chief, joins Ilara at the precipice, his jaw tight. He looks at the faces of his people, seeing not panic, but the grim, hardened resolve of a species that has always lived on a knife's edge. The Great Walker is their salvation, but now, its silent, unknowable will has become their executioner. The question hangs unspoken in the hot, dry air: how do you steer a god? The days that follow are a slow descent into a baked hell. The green carpet below bleeds to brown, then to a cracked, ochre wasteland. The air grows thin and sharp, and the water stalls, vast skin sacks filled during the river walk, are dangerously low. Panic, a venomous serpent, begins to uncoil in the heart of Ethel. Younger hunters, desperate, suggest a great descent to abandon their world and brave the salt waste on foot. Bol silences them with a single cold look. To leave the walker is to be devoured. The land sharks, the lean and hungry Giganotosaurus, are already shadows on the horizon, their forms shimmering in the heat haze. They are waiting for the city to fall from the sky. The clan's sophisticated survival skills are useless on ground they cannot control. It is Ilara, the sky speaker, who offers the sliver of hope. She gathers the elders not at the precipice, but at the spine ridge, the highest point on the great walker's back. We cannot force the god, she says, her voice raspy from thirst, but perhaps we can annoy it. She recalls a story from her grandmother's time of another's time, of a lightning strike near the creature's great neck that caused the walker to shudder and back on its course. A great, unwanted sound. A rhythm that is not the world's rhythm. The idea is insane, a child's fantasy, but it is also the only plan they have. It is a concept born from generations of observation, a flicker of intelligence against a mountain of flesh, The hard choice is clear. They must risk angering the very foundation of their existence to save it. Boa gives the command. The plan is a masterpiece of communal effort and steered on Togaratic technology. For the next 2 days, the entire clan works with a feverish desperation. They dismantle non-essential huts and platforms, freeing up the strongest timbers and thickest ropes. From the clan's deep stores they bring out the sacred relics, the colossal fossilized ribs of long-dead beasts found embedded in the walker's hide, and the massive, flattened shoulder blades of other dinosaurs, scavenged from the ground on rare foraging expeditions generations ago. These become their instruments. They build 3 massive drum stations along the central spine, stretching from the great hump of the shoulders back towards the hips. Each station has a dozen men, their strongest hunters and builders, who will wield the heavy rib bones as mallets. These ancient humans are not praying to a distant god, they are trying to communicate with the living one beneath their feet. A future paleontology might never uncover the evidence of this audacious act, this desperate attempt to redirect a living mountain. The stakes are absolute. If it works too well, the violent shudder of the great sauropod could tear the city apart and cast them all into the wasteland below. As the last mallet is tied into place, Bor looks to Alara. She watches the sun, her eyes narrowed. She raises a hand, her eyes narrowed. She raises a hand, holds it, and then lets it fall. But a dull, gut-punching thud that travels not through the air, but through the very ground they stand on. Then another, and a third. A slow, massive, unnatural heartbeat begins to pound down the length of the living world. The drumming continues for an entire turn of the sun. Thud, 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 thud. The rhythm is a maddening, alien pulse against the deep, natural cadence of the walker's steps. The men's arms burn, their hands are raw, but they do not stop. The rest of the clan brings them water and white fungus, their faces etched with a mixture of terror and hope. Below, the man sharks have grown bolder. The Giganotosaurus back now rots alongside the walker's great legs, their massive heads tilted up, waiting. They smell the change. They sense the desperation. For a full day, nothing happens. The salt waste looms closer, the air tasting of dust and death. Doubt becomes a physical presence, heavy and suffocating. Then comes the groan. It is a sound felt more than heard, a vibration that rises from the very core of their world, a resonant frequency of deep annoyance. The drumming crews falter for a beat, their eyes wide with fear, before Boar's roar urges them on. They strike harder, faster. The walker groans again, louder this time, a sound that shakes the very marrow in their bones. And then the world tilts. It is not a turn, it is a cataclysm. Shuddering lurch to the west as the colossal sauropod twists its entire body in a spasm of irritation. A wave of pure momentum rips through Aethel. The world is a landslide of hide and bone. Huts stare from their anchors and slide into the abyss. A vital rope bridge connecting the spine ridge to the tail farm snaps with a sound like a thunderclap, sending the precious farm platforms and 2 young tenders plummeting into the wasteland below. Kel sees a child slip from her mother's grasp and slides toward the precipice. He lunges, not thinking, and catches her arm, his own body anchored only by one hand wrapped around a bony scoot. The pull is immense, the child's weight nearly tearing his shoulder from its socket, but he holds on. He holds on as the world itself screams and tears around him. The great shudder lasts for less than a minute, but it feels like a lifetime. When the motion finally subsides, the world is stable again, but canted at a new, strange angle. The drumming has stopped. A stunned silence hangs over the devastated city, broken only by the cries of the injured and the grieving. But when Kale looks to the horizon, the white glare of the salt waste is gone. In its place, far to the east, is the familiar, hazy green of the riverlands. They have turned to God. Beor stands amidst the wreckage, his face grim. The cost is severe, a wound that will take a generation to heal. Yet, as he watches his people, the altruism point of their existence, shining through as they pull each other from the debris and tend to the wounded, he understands. They are not simply passengers anymore. This is the dawn of a new understanding, a new covenant. They have learned that their existence is not a matter of fate, but a true symbiosis. Their intelligence, their collective will, He's a force that can influence the world, a tool as powerful as any stone axe. This moment marks a pivotal step in human evolution, a shift from passive survival to active participation in the life of their planet. Embers and echoes. This was more than a single clan's survival. It was a turning point in the deep annals of hominid history. On the back of a living continent, a small band of Homo erectus discovered the most profound truth of their lineage, that intelligence applied with audacious courage could influence forces of a geologic scale. The rhythmic drumming on a dinosaur's spine was the ancestral echo of every dam that would one day redirect a river, every canal that would join to seas. It was the first, terrifying expression of our species' refusal to merely exist within the world, and the beginning of our instinct to shape it. The ruins of Ethel were rebuilt not with the desperation of survivors, but with the quiet confidence of partners who had spoken to their world and made it listen. Their struggle poses a question that reverberates through the millennia to our own time. Where is the line between being a creature of the earth and becoming its custodian, and what is the price of crossing it? We are the architects of our own improbable survival. But the sky, which had always been empty, was beginning to hold a new kind of shadow.